Hello and welcome to Love Beyond, where we explore topics related to relationships, love, and personal growth. In today's video, we're going to talk about an essential but often overlooked aspect of healthy relationships: setting boundaries. Boundaries are the limits and guidelines that define our individuality, values, and needs in relationships. Boundaries help us respect ourselves and others, maintain our autonomy and dignity, and promote mutual understanding and trust. What are boundaries? Before we talk about the importance of setting boundaries in relationships, let's first understand what boundaries are and how they work. Boundaries are like fences that separate our personal space, emotions, and time from others. Boundaries can be physical, such as not allowing others to invade our personal space or touch us without consent. Boundaries can also be emotional, such as not tolerating disrespectful or abusive language or behavior. Boundaries can also be time-based, such as setting priorities and limits on how much time we spend with others. Why are boundaries important? Now that we know what boundaries are, let's talk about why they are important in relationships. Boundaries are essential for the following reasons. 1. Respect. Boundaries help us respect ourselves and others by defining what is and isn't acceptable behavior in a relationship. When we set boundaries, we communicate our values, preferences, and needs in a clear and assertive way. 2. Safety. Boundaries help us protect ourselves and others from harm, abuse, or exploitation. When we set boundaries, we establish limits on what we're willing to tolerate and what we're not. This helps prevent misunderstandings, conflicts, and power imbalances. 3. Trust. Boundaries help us build trust and intimacy in relationships by promoting mutual understanding and empathy. When we set boundaries, we show that we're willing to listen, compromise, and negotiate with others. This fosters a sense of respect, safety, and reciprocity in relationships. 4. Growth. Boundaries help us grow and learn in relationships by encouraging self-awareness, self-care, and personal development. When we set boundaries, we challenge ourselves to reflect on our values, needs, and goals. This helps us learn from our mistakes, develop new skills, and become more resilient and adaptable. How to set boundaries in relationships. If you're wondering how to set boundaries in relationships, here are some tips that can help. 1. Identify your values, needs, and priorities. Reflect on what matters most to you in a relationship, such as honesty, trust, respect, autonomy, or intimacy. Think about what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not. Write down your boundaries in a clear and specific way. 2. Communicate your boundaries. Talk to your partner about your boundaries in a calm and assertive way. Use I statements instead of you statements. Be clear, respectful, and consistent in your communication. Don't assume that your partner knows what your boundaries are. 3. Enforce your boundaries. Stick to your boundaries, even if it's uncomfortable or challenging. Don't let others violate your boundaries without consequences. Use assertive communication, body language, and action to enforce your boundaries. Don't apologize or feel guilty for having boundaries. 4. Respect others' boundaries. Recognize that others have their own boundaries and needs in a relationship. Listen actively to your partner's boundaries and respect them. Don't pressure or manipulate others to violate their boundaries. Seek compromise and mutual understanding.